Okay, welcome to part 5. I'm kind of just dry fitting these plates onto the Dust Tactics tank traps. And this, we're going to add a little super glue, and then we'll be moving on from there. A little bit of gel, and I like how that one sits like that, so keep it like that. Kind of lightly glue the bottom, and then we're gonna let this dry, and then we're gonna hit it with some wash like we did on the original one. And after letting these dry, it looks even better with the little bit of pull that off of there. Let's see. I'm going to scoot this one over a little bit. Or maybe not. That's okay. We got that glued down. And let's see how they compare to each other. So it kind of looks like they might have been made out of two different manufacturers, but serve the same purpose. So we'll let that dry right now, then come back and start detailing these a little bit further. Then I think this should be the last part. So as usual, thank you for joining me, and we'll see you in a second. So now we're going to do some washing, and I'm not going to do oil washes on these. I'm going to use these basically as a glaze. I got the War Paint Dark Tone and some Flow Aid. Get a nice little amount going because we need a little bit of it. I'll probably do a little less than 2-to-1 mix. So I give the wash a little bit of traction. And I did a little work already on this one, and you can barely, it's very subtle. You can see right here, there's a little delineation, I guess that's a line. Kind of just going, taking the wash, and just giving it a little bit of separation from the ground. That's kind of like that look. And brush control is important. I screwed up a little bit right there, but oh well, it'll kind of sink down into the crevices. I can do little light glazes. It's maybe a little more than a glaze. Just want to get a little more detail in those. So just kind of do a little bit of the wash. Basically painting a little Y right there. And just going back and forth. And let's add more and more layers, just get some more color in there. And then, especially inside these little cracks, give them a little more depth. And just kind of just work the pigment down into the crack that we want detailed. A little crack there. And a little bit right there. We have this whole upper area. Then we're going to come in later and do some hardline highlights. And also we don't want to forget to run this plate. Have a little bit of shadow and let's go to the one I made. And there's a little more exaggeration in the holes, so I want those filled, make those really nice and dark. Just kind of just jam the wash in there to give it more detail and depth. And then we can go along the bottom like we did on the other one. Give it a little more shadow and separation. And actually, there's like a lot of depth in there, so I like how this turned out. So I'm going to go work on these and instead of bore you, and we'll come back and show you what they look like. Okay, we're back. We're doing some hard edge highlighting and some shading also. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my original highlight color. This is the Heavy Warm Gray, and this is the original base color, Reaper Cloudy Gray. Nice and shaken up. And do 2 parts of that. And then on this end, 2 parts of that. And then for my highlight, it's going to add a little bit of white to it. This 1 part white. Got some dry paint. And then for the low light, we're going to add some, just a drop of black. And to get the stuff to mix nicely, I got some Lamian Medium from Citadel. I've transferred this into a bottle, so I have control over it. Let's do a drop on that one. We'll do a couple drops on that. It's a little, the white paint's a little dry. Take a regular brush, not the one I'm going to paint with, and mix this together. And wash it. And let's get my other color together. Nice. Get that cleaned up. And then we can start going in. Let's take the one I painted, or I mean designed. Use some of this and just get a nice edge on it. And we can go in and just get little edges of this. You can see my printer in the background going. This is going to be highlighted also. This will bring out these little details. And we get the whole top done. Let's try to keep even pressure on it so you're not smearing it around. And this seems to be holding a nice sharp point. That happens with soup. A little mistake there. A little too much paint on the brush. Easy here. So you can get kind of the idea of what I'm doing. Get this all highlighted. Oops, I totally screwed up that one. Too much paint on the brush, as I said before. And this area here. Let's grab some of these little things too here. And this would be a little more difficult on this one. The details aren't so recessed as the one I did. There we go. We're pulling a little bit of detail out of there. Kind of coming together. Well, I'm going to go through this. This is kind of tedious, and I will show you the results when I'm done. Thanks. I'm back real quick. You don't want to use your greatest brush for this. I have an old Winsor & Newton that's kind of frayed, and it will hold a slight tip, but I'm not afraid to screw it up a little bit. So I can scrub it around. It's almost like a semi-hard highlighting and dry brushing, especially in some of this texture. As you can see right here, to pop it out, kind of just want to, it's not very, the edges are so different in angle, and this way, especially like this area here, we have this little bit of sand and rubble. Then we can go through all these little areas here and just try to find the angle of what you're trying to hit. And it's not going to be, you might make a couple of mistakes, but this is tabletop. This is not competitive. We're almost done here anyways. I'll see a little bit right there, just to bring out some of that detail. Then how we got the detail on the top done. And then we have some of these little areas that we want to just bring out of the facade. There, see this little rock come out, then there's like a little edge there we want to accentuate. And then this area, there's a little bit of detail. I'm going to try to just almost dry brush, just kind of lightly there. I know it over exaggerates, but it really, for a tabletop, this is really going to bring out the detail and make it pop a little bit. And you can go through these little areas and just go, brings out some of the detail there. Just wanted to show that real quick, and when I get all these done, I'll come back and see what we did. Let's find a little more area. Let's see, a little more area right there. Semi-dry brush, and just pull it across all this. There. That's starting to come together. And you can go over areas you want a little more white. I'm not making it, like I said, I added a little white to the highlight color, so it still kind of blends a little bit, but really catches the eye. And you can catch a little bit on the plate and ring to give it a little more pop, and maybe those bolts. Looking pretty good. So we'll be back in a second and show them off to you. Then we're almost done. Thanks for joining me.